Dota at some point in their lives, right? You've got Druz who played for Evil Minds, you've got Ice Cube who played for Surrey Gaming, and, well, of course, Croaz, who's been in almost every single top Dota 2 team.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you were to compare both these teams roster for roster, I think the Radiant side definitely has the upper hand when it comes to skill and experience. But no, I think the gap between pro teams and teams that are trying to make it is slowly decreasing. There, you really can't say that one team has the upper hand going straight in. I think this game has become far too volatile for such a prediction. But let's see how things goes. Let's see if Devils in the Dark manage to keep up.
Right, so Aggressive 5 on the Radiant side, they've got themselves that Faceless Void ban coming out as their first ban, while Tinker gets removed by Devils in the Dark. So Morphling getting banned, not too sure why in the first phase you'd ban out of Morphling, but I can agree with this Ricky ban coming out from Aggressive 5. You know, I think we spoke about the roaming Bounty Hunter. Ricky is more meta than the Bounty, I'd say, today. So I'm kind of expecting Devils in the Dark to snag themselves either a Timbersaw or perhaps even the Ancient Apparition as their first pick.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not too sure what the Morphling ban is for, but maybe it's something they expect Aggressive 5 to do. Maybe they've done their homework and they expect Aggressive 5 to pick Morphling in the early stages of the game. But yeah, apart from that, I see no real logical reason to ban out the Morphling. But there we go. They've started up with the Disruptor as their first pick. Um, I really don't know what to say about this. I mean, he is a strong laning support, but I'm not too sure if a hero like Disruptor warrants a first pick nowadays.
So, I mean, I can get behind a Disruptor first pick. He was the most picked hero at the Manila Major, and I mean, he's one of those heroes that brings so much value just as soon as he hits level 6. That's about 1000 AoE magic damage over about 5 seconds, and it's pretty ridiculous once you drop down a Static Storm. And of course, if that wasn't good enough, you've got a Silence along the entire duration as well. So why not? And
yeah, definitely. There's no denying the utility he brings to the table, but I'm still wondering that it's 2 picks in and no one has gone for a Timbersaw just yet.
yeah, looks like Ice Frog's Nerf Stick has worked wonders versus that hero, man. But you've got a first pick Venge coming out from Aggressive 5, so they've got the deterrent for a possible Batrider pick from Devils in the Dark. I really don't know if Batrider even fits the flavor of the month anymore. He's not one of those heroes that gets the Iron Talon, and Iron Talon is just pretty much OP this meta. So I'm kind of expecting something like an off-lane Slaughter, maybe even a Beastmaster coming out from either side.
You know, it's how we spoke about Aggressive 5. They've been in the scene for a while, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do pick a Batrider and opt to run a Batrider in the middle lane. I mean, it's not too common, but I wouldn't be too surprised if something like that happens. But speaking of second picks with Vengeful Spirit, I think teams nowadays have been prioritizing a support Kunkka as well, so we could see something like that coming out here.
I mean, the tone of this entire meta has just been running that greedy 4-position support, and then, you know, getting that early level 6 with either a Beastmaster in the jungle or even a Night Stalker on occasion with the Iron Talon. And I mean, the standard time has now become level 6 at about 6-minute mark. You come out with an ulti along the same time as your middle laner has an ultimate online as well. And you make some plays on the back of a Smoke of Deceit. But Aggressive 5 going with the Invoker. Can't really fault them for that. Still too soon to tell whether this is going to be a Cos Vex or it's going to be a Cos Exort Invoker. But I think both have their merits when you've got a straight stun like the Vengeful Magic Missile.
I actually like this Lada pick coming out. I think it's a good way to open up your draft to make sure that a hero that you want hasn't been banned out. So I think it's prudent that they've managed to snag this hero for themselves. But then again, it's like you said, you know, this could just as well be a Quasvex Invoker, and that hero does manage to fend off this Lada time and time again.
Yeah, well, 15-minute Blink Dagger if things go badly for him is something that we should be looking forward to. 12 minutes if he's doing well. That's probably going to be there. I mean, usually when you pick a Slaughter, you want to play around that. You want your entire strategy to revolve around that early Blink Dagger. Use it to get a couple of surprise initiations and try and take a tower and an objective on the back of that. Aggressive 5, though. They've played enough Dota to know that when you've got the Slaughter looking to get an early Blink Dagger, you want to ban out that Life Stealer, preventing that Infest Bomb setup. They're also going to ban out the Slog on account of the lack of AoE control that they've got in their lineup so far.
And Devils in the Dark have actually banned out the Tidehunter. I think this is a really good ban. Speaking of, when we talk about offlaners, there are quite a few heroes that teams can go to, but I think banning out a sort of hero that serves the purpose of a meat shield as well as has excellent counter initiation potential, I think it's good that they've banned an AoE hero.
We spoke about the whole greedy 4-position support being part of the meta, but something that really hasn't fallen off now over the last few patches is ancient stacking. When you get yourself something like the Tide Hunter or maybe even the Sven on your core role, Ancient Stacks just become the entire flavor of of the game going forward. And perhaps we're going to see a Sven pick coming out here. I do see merit for Aggressive 5 to get it because the Warcry works wonders versus the amp damage. Pretty much completely mitigated.
I'm actually, yeah, I'm surprised as well that Sven and Timbersaw haven't been picked up in the early stages of the draft. Devils in the Dark have actually banned out the Timbersaw, but it's just those Echo Saber heroes, man. I mean, that one item has completely brought Sven to the brink of being called almost broken, I'd say. God Strength Blink and you're almost able to take out 2 heroes in an instant.
Yeah, well, let's see if Aggressive 5 does pick up the Sven here. I mean, again, there's so much value with the Sven getting his damage augmented by A, the Vengeful Spirit Aura, and B, the Alacrity from the Invoker. One way to deal with the Sven, though, is to kite around him and dance circles around him on the battlefield. Slara, not the best at doing it, considering once he's in, he's all in. But Disruptor with the Glimpse, I think that could work out for them. That is assuming the Sven doesn't get an early BKB, of course. But we're talking like there's a Sven already in this game when Doxia gets picked up as the 3rd pick for Aggressive 5. Not something I'd expect here. I mean, Devils in the Dark, if they really want to shut this down, all they've got to do is pick up the Oracle for themselves, the Fortunes, and pretty much just purges off that Iron Shell, or the Surge for that matter. And I do see room for an Oracle in their draft right now.
Yeah, over time I have this feeling that the offlane has somewhat become easier to play, just because you could pick up an Iron Talon and jump into the jungle straight away. But that being said, Darkseer has always been one of those heroes that can sort of hold his own against a tri-lane, but I mean, this is a 3rd pick Darkseer up against a 1st pick Disruptor. I mean, if there's one hero that can bring you back and make sure you don't leave there alive, it's the Disruptor.
Quite literally as well with the Glimpse bet. There we go. The Screak or Birdie comes out. Phoenix going to be 3rd pick by Devils in the Dark. But, on any other day, I'd say, great, you've got a Phoenix in your ranks, but in this particular matchup, I'm not sure if a support Phoenix in synergy with the Disruptor is the best way to deal with that Darkseer. You want more lockdowns. I mean, sure, the Glimpse is great at bringing him back from the Surge, but without locking him down long enough to throw out the Sunray, I'm not sure how they're going to deal with him. Unless, of course, they're going to get themselves a straight stun in their core pick.
Yeah, the draft so far, it seems like it's centered around Slarda getting an early Blink Dagger. I think they need to be careful to sort of prepare for what happens if he doesn't manage to get an early Blink Dagger. So they maybe need to draft stronger cores if this is an offlane Slarda, or I think a Sven for Devils in the Dark could work really well.
So Dunkmeister coming up here, Aggressive 5, going with the Earthshaker as their 4th pick. I can't say I'm very convinced about this support duo. Usually when you pick up the Venge, you probably want something that's a little better at zoning out offlaners. But there's no denying the kill potential that a Venge and an Earthshaker bring with the oodles of lockdown among them. Versus the Slaughter as well. If he pops a sprint at the wrong time, he's going to take extra damage from that magic missile burst. And it's really going to boil down to what 5th one position hero that Aggressive 5 goes for. Devils in the Dark, meanwhile. 4th pick on the board for them. They're still looking for a mid as well as a carry of their own. And I'm trying to think of what fits the bill here. I mean, Sven, we spoke about how it's an option for Aggressive 5, but there's nothing stopping Devils in the Dark from claiming it for themselves. And at the same time as their mid-position hero, the playing field is wide open. If they want control, they could go for something like the Puck, or possibly even a Dragonite if they just want that pushing potential.
I think they could even go for something like a Razor. A Razor, maybe a Drow Ranger for themselves. But they've gone for their mid hero right now, which comes in the form of a Puck.
Yeah, so they are going to prioritize control over damage for their middle laner. Now this really does seem like a build-up towards one of those greedy cores that needs lockdown from his teammates. So I'm thinking an anti-mage, maybe even, again I'm harping on this, but the Sven might be a good choice. But one hero that's really, I wouldn't say he's fallen off, but hasn't been receiving enough love from teams is the Gyrocopter. And if there's ever a time to bring him back, I think this is the lineup for Devils in the Dark to go with it.
I think the primary reason Gyrocopter has fallen out is just the way that most Gyrocopters tend to itemize. The fact that melee carries are so overpowered right now because of the Echo Saber kind of makes it moot to pick a Gyrocopter that you have to build sort of a phase drums kind of lineup. But it's interesting that you spoke about anti-mage. Aggressive 5 seems to have a typical old school lineup that warrants a last pick anti-mage.
Yeah, well, I mean, Aggressive 5 could get themselves that anti-mage now, but I'm really going to worry about the anti-mage in the laning phase, though. If Devils in the Dark, well, if they had something up their sleeves here, they could just run an aggressive tri-lane and then run the Slaughter in the safe lane. They're going to know that A5 is going to have Avenge and an Earthshaker as the two supports, and they're not the best at dealing in those 3v3 situations. So maybe Devils in the Dark just throws a curveball at them and then takes the fight straight to them from minute 1.
Anti-mage.
Well,
Oh, there we have it.
man, we'll pat ourselves on the back for that one. There is an anti-mage coming out this game, but quite honestly, it was fairly obvious considering that you've got a Lifestealer, Slark, Sven, and a Juggernaut all getting banned out, which leads me to question, what is Aggressive 5 going to go with as their 5th pick?
Yeah, they actually banned out a Faceless Void as well, so pretty much all your overpowered melee carries
Oh, there
have
we
been
go.
banned out, but I mean, that's pretty much as curvy as curveballs get.
Alright, so suddenly their tri-lane is looking extremely strong, and aggressive tries are not an option for Devils in the Dark. But didn't quite see this Terrorblade coming. We usually see it in synergy with the Shadow Demon, where you have that illusion army push going your way, but it's a pretty smart draft coming out from them, claiming the Earthshaker on their own side, and then last picking the Terrorblade, a hero with really high amounts of base armor, going up against the armor reduction from the Slaughter. But for those of you just tuning in, this is CloudX and Sid. We're at Challenger Cup #1, organized by Nordwind Gaming, sponsored by HyperX and Asus for the ESL India Premiership. It's Aggressive 5 versus DITD in a best-of-1 knockout match. Unfortunately, one of these two teams will be going home at the end of this.
Would you expect this to be an aggressive tri-lane coming out from the Disruptor Phoenix and the Slardar, or just a traditional safe lane farming Slardar looking to prioritize a quick blink dagger?
I'm going to have to take a minute here because one of our settings is not put down properly. There we go. That should be a lot better. Right, so I am still thinking that an aggressive tri-lane is, well, no, I'm going to say it's not an option anymore. I don't think A5 should be running an, sorry, I don't think DITD should be running an aggressive, what am I saying? I'm saying I don't think A5 should be running an aggressive tri-lane here. You want to get that Terrorblade your early start. And, I mean, sure, there's skill potential every time the Metamorphosis comes online, but all DITD has to do is keep the anti-mage alive for the most part. Get that fairly okay-ish timing Vanguard on him, and then they should be able to cruise through the rest of the game while Slaughter gets all the time in the world to farm up a blink in a one-on-one situation.
Yeah, but the way I'm looking at it is the only real threat that the Terrorblade faces is if DITD Slardar gets a quick blink dagger. That is pretty much, I think, the only tool that they have to bring down the Terrorblade in the early game, a quick blink dagger coupled with maybe a static storm.
I actually think the puck is going to be the most crucial factor in bringing down this man. The one thing that Terrorblade is susceptible to is high amounts of burst magic damage. Puck brings plenty of that to the table with the Waning Rift and the Illusory Orb, but I mean, this is one of those games where he could just go YOLO and get himself a straight up Dagon and start leveling it up early as well. Alright, so while Druz reconnects to the game, we're going to do a quick introduction of both sides. Sid, why don't you pick a team and take it away? What just happened, guys? Panic?
Do I just wing it?
Okay, something has gone wrong here. Did you kick something?
Nope. Well, there's nothing for me to kick.
FIFA player confirmed.
Yeah.
Okay, looks like the game's gonna get underway again. Unfortunately, we had a few hiccups, both on the casting end as well as the gamer end. But everything's good to go. For those of you that are just walking into the venue, it's Challenger Cup #1 of the ESL India Premiership, organized by Nordwind Gaming, sponsored by Asus and HyperX. Aggressive 5 taking on DITD in a best-of-1 matchup here, and we've got another pause. Right, so Sid, I think we've got plenty of time on our hands to kill. Pick a team, let's introduce them.
All right, so on the Radiant, we have Aggressive 5. So we have Krovaz on the Vengeful Spirit, Isolation on the Invoker, Maze on the Earthshaker Druz on the Darkseer, and Ice Cubes on the Terrorblade.
Right, so Aggressive have lots of experience under their belt. We've harped about the fact that they've got some old school players among their ranks. On the other side, though, it's DITD, a team that, let's be honest, we haven't seen at LANs before, but this is their first appearance in the top 8 of Indian Dota 2. So Kills a lot going to be handling the Slaughter, Anti-Mage going to be played by A. You've got Disruptor handled by Venom. You've got Hailing on the Phoenix, and Gifty, that's a familiar name, on the Puck.
Did you say Gifty is a familiar name?
It is. I believe he played for XRG once.
Sounds a lot like Swifty, so.
No, come on, man.
Yeah, but Swifty played for XRG too, so.
Close enough. Alright, so
maybe it's his long lost brother Gifty.
we've got some Suresh Ramesh moment happening right there. Isolation gonna pick up the bounty rune for his team, while Gifty himself gonna get it for the Dire side. Puck versus Invoker, a matchup that's really spanned the history of Dota 2, is gonna be taking place here once again. Yeah, I think this is a matchup where Puck should ideally have the upper hand for the first couple of levels, and then it's gonna tilt towards the Invoker as time goes forward.
Yeah, but regardless of who has the advantage in the middle lane, I feel that Aggressive 5 have drafted in a way that their support can actually help win the middle lane, but on the side of the Dire, I don't really see Disruptor and Phoenix contributing too much to the Puck when it comes to a matchup against the Invoker.
Yeah, well, I can't say the same about the Phoenix. I feel like Phoenix is one of those that adds a lot of value, coming in with that Sunray and burning down through those HP points, those valuable HP points on the Invoker. But at the same time, Earthshaker, man, this is a hero that needs almost nothing in the first few minutes of the game. The Fissure is as effective as it is at level 1 as it is at level 4. So I'm kind of expecting Maze to make his rotations towards mid quite often, while DITD just puts in the Phoenix to help provide some backup. But surprisingly enough, Phoenix started off with the Icarus dive. I guess he was thinking of stealing the rune at bottom, but considering he didn't even attempt it, I'm not sure why he's got the Icarus dive skilled up. The ideal way to go about this would be to get the Sunray online. And it looks like teams are experiencing some delay here on the main stage.
Yeah, speaking of the Disruptor and the Phoenix, I don't really see too much kill potential, to be honest. I mean, I totally agree with the combo potential that they have, you know, a Static Storm plus a Supernova in the background with the Slaughter blinking in and stunning, getting a crush on maybe multiple heroes, but all of those, I mean, they're too dependent on these supports getting early levels and actually making the most of the map. But on the side of Aggressive 5, there's tons of kill potential, even if the supports don't really have an excellent start right from the get-go. Both of them have straight up stuns which can help win the middle lane. And Terrorblade, I don't really think he needs too much babysitting in that bottom lane, and well, the Darkseer, he's one of those Iron Talon heroes, so regardless of how his off lane goes, he always has the option to just jump into the jungle and catch up on some farm.
Yeah, but I do feel like Aggressive 5 are on a clock. Terrorblade's one of those heroes that, yeah, okay, he's great in the late game phase as well, but you've always got to worry about a super farm split pushing anti-mage that's causing all sorts of chaos and havoc for Aggressive 5. The good thing about A5's lineup, though, is the Terrorblade Illusions augmented with the Vengeance Aura from the Vengeful Spirit should be able to melt through those early towers, and when you take down early towers versus the anti-mage, you essentially reduce the amount of area that he has to farm up on. If you take over his jungle as well, he's pretty much a sitting duck. And especially if he goes for the Vanguard build without that early Battle Fury, I see no way for DIT to come back, but this is all contingent upon A5 having a very strong early game phase.
Yeah, it seems these teams are still experiencing some technical difficulties, but I think they've decided to just go on with the game. I mean, if it's mutual lag, then I think it's an even playing ground.
Yeah, I can't agree with that, but fair enough, man. Anti-Mage, he's got himself an empty lane for now. You've got Druz ditching that lane, going into the jungle, so if the Darkseer wasn't a fast enough jungle farmer with the Iron Shell, he's now got the Iron Talent to help him out a bit more. He's taking a beating, even the Sunstrike's going to clip on him. That was not the way Gifty envisioned this lane going. He's going to have to use some early tangos.
Yeah, things actually... I think Darkseer made the right decision choosing to ditch the offlane right from the get-go. I think the risk of having a hero that can potentially glimpse you back and maybe proceed to kill you, it's just better to ditch the lane altogether. Given that the Darkseer is an efficient jungler as well.
Yeah, but once he gets a couple of points in the Iron Shell, I don't see how DITD is going to deal with this Iron Shell creep base coming in their face. Anti-Mage, he's opted not to start with the extra regen. Usually up against the Darkseer, you want to start with a couple of sets of tangos and then maybe a Stout Shield as well. But he's chosen to go with the Quelling Blade and the Stout Shield, which is probably a straight up invitation for the Darkseer to move into the lane instead.
Yeah, I think the way you play an anti-mage against a Darkseer is you aggressively blink forward and make sure that you steal as much of Darkseer's mana as you can, so that you don't have to keep worrying about him constantly spamming out the Iron Shell since you're a melee hero.
Well, meanwhile at the bottom lane you've got Terrorblade manning up in the Metamorphosis. I'm assuming that, okay, there is lag. Yes, we can see it as well. But like I was saying, you know, Terrorblade, he's manned up already with the Metamorphosis. I'm assuming that was to score a kill on the Slaughter. No casualties just yet though. Still no first blood 2 minutes in. But you know what, let's put a prediction on this. Who do you think is going to die first this game? Or which lane is the first death going to happen in?
Yeah, well, I see both supports in the bottom lane, so I expect Slardar to be the first casualty of this game.
Yeah, well, he doesn't even have an observer ward on the sidelines here, so a well-placed Fissure could be the death of this man. He does have full HP right now though, but we are seeing the Earthshaker prepped and ready. They've even got a Radiant Observer ward to watch all of this Slaughter shenanigans. But without the Metamorphosis,
safe for now. I mean, the Metamorphosis is on cooldown.
Yeah, they're gonna have to wait a good 80 seconds. So Slaughter's gonna be feeling happy about this. The fact that he found a regen rune in the river really helped his cause as well. Top lane Druz, he's now got himself 2 points in the Iron Shell, which means that the anti-mage is not gonna have the best time here farming up in the lane. There's a ward overlooking his tier 1 tower, so the glimpse will be a possibility if they try and lock down on him, but it's not going to be as easy. Circles a lot on the run, once again completely zoned out of the lane and forced to take the long winding path back to the tier 1 tower.
Yeah, there's the threat to his life, but I think the Slardar's not having a good lane. From what we saw of the draft, it seemed that it was sort of centered around the fact that Slardar manages to have a good game and get an early zigzagger to actually just control his team forward.
This is a little clowny, to say the least. He Icarus dive in this place to do the extra bit of damage from the Icarus dive, but Sunray is that's really your best tool when you want to try and zone out the Invoker. I don't think there's any possibility of a kill on this man without any lockdown here to burn through with the Sunray, but perhaps once Gifty hits level 6, they'll try and make a play using the Dream Coil. But look at this, Iron Shell from Druz, it's not going to be enough. Nope, no first blood just yet. Phoenix barely manages to get away, but Invoker will seal the deal with a Sunstrike. So the Hunter becomes the hunted. Phoenix going down after that rotation. Druz even getting the money for the assist, I would assume.
Yeah, do you expect Darkseid to actually go back to lane, or will he just heal up and jump back into the jungle?
I think at this point he can continue to be in the lane. It's just the Disruptor right now supporting a melee hero, aka the Anti-Mage. So dropping down those Iron Shells on the melee creeps wouldn't be a bad choice. I mean, it may not be the most efficient way for the Darkseer to farm, but he'll be doing his bit by slowing down the Anti-Mage himself. We're yet to see whether he is going to complete a Vanguard here or if he's going to go greedy and just build up the Battle Fury as his first item. And honestly, I think greedy is the route here he should take.
Yeah, I think if both these teams were to face off in a 5v5 engagement, the Aggressive does have the upper hand, but from that in the bottom lane, they do initiate on the Slardar, a few quick stuns, and that's an easy kill.
Yeah, they made that look way too easy. Ice Cubes just pounding away with the Metamorphosis, a Fissure to block him in. This is really why you need an Observer Ward on the side here as a Slaughter. If you don't have the Observer Ward, you buy an Iron Talon and you just decide not to come back to the lane. Because Slaughter, I mean, the only way he survives is if he manages to run away with the high movement speed from sprint. And when you get Fissure blocked, there's nowhere to go really. But Terrorblade not going to get a free tower on the back of that kill. The Kills-A-Lot comes in, gets the cross. The Sunray can do some damage as well. They do have the glimpse. They're going to pull the Terrorblade closer towards the Disruptor and the Slaughter. Lots of damage being discharged. Ice Cube's just trying to man up here, but he's not going to get too far. Maybe he is. There was a well-placed Fissure there by the Earthshaker. The Tosh is going to miss. Ice Cube, he's delaying the inevitable. He is going to get brought down here, and Slaughter will claim the kill. So worthy rotation indeed from DITD. We'll see the Terrorblade meeting his maker.
Yeah, that was executed surprisingly well by DITD. They did take a bit too long to bring the Terror Blade down, but at least they were quick to assess the threat and have both supports TP to the bottom lane.
Yeah, I think what's even more crucial there is that Terrorblade spent his salve without actually having any, well, without actually surviving there. So he's blown a salve, he suffered a death. He's gonna have to spend money on a TP to come back in as well. So a little bit of economic damage being done on the man. As we already see the anti-mage now pulling ahead in terms of net worth. He's at 2900 net worth. He chose to go for the power treads, so it could still be the Battle Fury rush coming after him. But Venom and Hailing coming in all sneaky beaky like, looking for a pick off on the Invoker. They do have the glimpse available. Invoker's going to dispel the smoke on the Phoenix. Well, they won't be able to find the kill here, as Kroaz even comes in to offer a layer of support.
I think the Disruptor and the Phoenix have made the right choice by rotating to the bottom lane. They really need to put their weight behind this Lada and ensure that he gets a Blink Dagger. Anti-Mage has gotten to that point with his power treads and the Ring of Health that he doesn't really need too much babysitting against a Darkseer.
Alright, they're going for Maze though. They've spotted him in the jungle. Well-placed glimpse will pull him right back. No kinetic field to connect though. The crush was available, but a good magic missile from Venge stops the kills a lot in his tracks. And A5 will escape with no casualties.
I think if they had timed that offense a bit better, they could have probably brought down the Earthshaker. Slada chose to chase the Earthshaker knowing that the Disruptor had the glimpse available.
Yeah, I mean, a little poor execution coming out there, but perhaps they could have got the kill if they... I mean, I guess the kinetic field wasn't placed down quick enough. That's all that it really boils down to. But on the other side of the map, we've got Isolation just stacking up the money, man. This is a sub 8-minute Midas on the man. He's already used it once, and he's on top of the net worth chart as well as the EXP chart this game. He's even going to find a little bit of damage here on Gifty. Those False Spirits do a lot more than they look. They're a lot stronger than they look. And Gifty's already used the Illusory Orb once. He needs to be careful for fear of a Sunstrike coming in his head.
What do you expect that the Invoker will be looking to build to? I mean, given that he has a ton of farm at the 8-minute mark, I think he could just go for a Yule Scepter and try and burst heroes on his own. Yeah,
I guess a Yules wouldn't be a bad choice unless he wants to just rush the Aghanim Scepter that we've seen so many Invokers doing off late. If mobility is something that he's going to prioritize, an early blink, not something I would put past him either.
I think you could go for the traditional Necronomicon route as well. DITD don't really have too much in the terms of deep push. They don't have heroes like, well, let's say an Elder Titan to effectively stop push.
But middle lane, they try to make a play on the Invoker, but he turns it around on their head with the Fisher coming in from behind along with the Sunstrike. They've got one, they've got two. No, Gifty actually jumped up to the high ground, just barely survives while taking the kill on the Invoker himself. That's a trade that DITT will be okay with. Invoker traded off for the Disruptor.
It looks like in the top lane, Darkseer's actually... he managed to push the anti-mage back a bit.
Yep, anti-mage chosen not to go for the Vanguard just yet. That's probably why the courier's flying out now. Gonna make a base trip, make a trip towards the secret shop perhaps. But Jaws is out of mana. He's been tagged with the Thunderstrike. There is a glimpse available. Venom biding his time. He'll use it now, and this time the kinetic field will hold him in position. Even the Phoenix comes in with the Sunray. It's off the mark, but it doesn't matter. The anti-mage with the Mana Void will secure the kill. And DITT once again continue to go blow for blow with Aggressive 5.
Yeah, and to be honest, they're actually playing better than I thought they would with the kind of draft they had. But Anti-Mage has actually had a really good start. He's up to, I think, 60 or 65 CS in 10 minutes.
Yeah, 62 CS, 10 minutes in, not too shabby. Even has a kill attributed to his name now. And looks like he has spent his money. And yeah, it is going to be the Battle Fury Rush. This is something I can completely agree with this game.
Yeah, I don't really think he needs to go for a Vanguard. For Aggressive 5 to be able to bring down the Invoker, they have to commit both their supports. I don't think one support is going to be enough to cut it, so doesn't really have to be too worried. With the Battle Fury, you can sort of effectively split push and create some space on the map.
Speaking of crucial items though, the Blink Dagger on the Slaughter, how's he making progress here? 900 gold on the man. Still has a while to go before he gets it. We might even see another rotation from the Earthshaker and the Venge, but for now, they're focusing their efforts towards the top side. They really want to bring down this anti-mage and punish him for going this greedy early Battle Fury build. Let's see if he does get punished here. He's standing back under his tier 1 tower. Venge, thinking of coming in from the side, but there is a dire Observer Ward though. They should have provided vision on the Venge in this general area here. Not the anti-mage. He did have a tango on himself now, but he's going to get pincer trapped here from behind. Shaker's coming in. The Fisher will get dropped. Ven says no, sir, and backs away while Druz takes a
he
couple
needs
of
to be
hits.
careful. He could just be glimpsed back right here.
Yeah, there we go. Glimpse onto Druz under the tower. Another mana void and another kill. Anti-mage finds himself a little extra money in his back pocket as Aggressive 5. I don't want to call it a throw, but that looks like what they're doing here.
Yeah, that was some really poor miscommunication there. I think if the Vengeful had decided to commit there, they could have possibly brought the anti-mage down. But it was a risky play nonetheless. They decided to dive the tier 1 tower in hopes of an anti-mage kill.
See, he's got decent net worth actually. He's now getting close to the Invoker, I believe, in terms of net worth. Yeah, he's at 5,200, and that's a Midas Invoker just free farming in the middle lane, who's even got 2 kills attributed to his name. So this is a very farmed anti-mage for 12 minutes in. Considering that he's up against the constant pressure coming out from the Darkseer, Earthshaker, and the Venge. They want to go in further though. The Phoenix again providing some valuable information on the Venge's whereabouts. That'll allow the anti-mage to get away. But when in doubt, when you've got the Terrorblade on your side, just battle down towers and add to your net worth tally, as they will claim an uncontested tier 1 at top lane. Isolation at mid, Dream Call dropped on his head. They've got the silence from the Waning Grid, followed up with a crush of the amp damage as well. And there should be a dead Invoker, but Gifty, he's going to follow suit into the grave as well, and Slaughter will hit the deck too, making it a 2-for-1 trade in favor of A5. They're looking for more now. The silence from the Static Storm onto Kroraz with the Sunray burning it through, but Venom's the one taking the most damage, and the Force Spirit's doing so much work. Gets the Invoker a double kill, make it a triple, as even in death, he proves to be the MVP of that skirmish, making it a 4-for-1 trade. Almost everyone on the side of DITD go down in lieu of an Invoker.
And that was just ridiculous. The Invoker's so farmed, he doesn't even need to be there to get kills. Just have 2 of his minions do all this dirty work for him.
Yep, A5 abusing those false spirits there. They'll get the kill. Top lane tier 1 towers already been claimed. Ice Cubes is applying some pressure on the tier 2, while the rest of his teammates are doing the same on the tier 1 at mid. At this point, I really feel like Sir Kills-A-Lot needs to speed things up. He's choosing not to go for the Iron Talon at all, so he needs to take over that bottom lane and farm up instead of looking for kills like this. Ice Cubes. Without the Disruptor in the vicinity, they're not going to be able to secure the kill on him that easily. And he's just managed to create space right now for his teammates to pressure mid again.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I'm a bit baffled as to why the Slaughter chose to forego the Iron Talon. I mean, it was pretty obvious from the get-go that his lane wouldn't be a walk in the park, but they did actually manage to speed things up a little with the Disruptor and the Phoenix rotating in. Given that he did have a slight surge of gold there in the middle, he should have just gone for an Iron Talon, gone into the jungle and looked to expedite his Blink Dagger.
Well, another free tower claim for the Invoker, who's already got a ridiculous amount of money on himself.
Now, but speaking of Blink Daggers, Puck actually just got a Blink Dagger of his own.
Alright, so now they've got a tool for initiation. I believe it's still flying out on the courier. So he's made decent progress as a middle lane Puck that's lost his tower early. And now on the cover of the smoke, they're standing on top of a ward, but that doesn't see them. So perhaps they'll be able to find this Earthshaker as he makes his way into the river. Gifty has the dagger. Does he want to commit on this? His smoke has been dispelled and Kroaz comes in with a swap. That's some aggressive moves coming out from Kroaz. Just casually walks up to a smoked up Puck and swaps him in. They're not going to get the kill on him. While top lane, nothing happens either. Venom and Co will come in. Will not be able to find a glimpse initiation on any of these A5 heroes. As status quo has been resumed once again.
Man, this Invoker is just going ham. It's 15 minutes into the game. That's Midas drums and add a BOT to that count.
Anti-mage though, he's got himself the Battle Fury. This is when his farm rate really starts going through the roof. And Aggressive 5, the pressure is now on them to take down the rest of these remaining outer towers while they have the advantage. Speaking of advantage, it's a 7.5k gold lead and a 4,000 EXP lead going their way. The extra gold on account of the towers that have been taken down along with the Midas on the Invoker.
Yeah, ideally Aggressive 5 should now realize that the Anti-Mage does have his Battle Fury is going to look to split the map. But given that they have the 2 top net worth heroes on their sides, one being the Terrorblade and the Invoker, they really should look to get all these outer towers and maybe look to go in for a Roshan as quick as possible.
Yep, that'd be textbook Dota coming out from them if they chose to go for it, but for now you've got Kroaz Getting spotted out, the Glimpse will pull him back, but there's no follow-up. Wall's been dropped, a vacuum onto just the Phoenix. He'll be brought down. No! He gets the Supernova off in time. Can they make something of it? Hell no, they can't. The Terrorblade just chews through it along with the Invoker. Now the hunt is on. Looks like Krawaz is being run around the ring around the Rosie behind on the backlines, while Invoker will bring down Venom on the Disruptor yet again. It's a double kill for the Invoker, and as the dust settles, it ends up being a 2-for-1 trade once again in favor of A5. And well, if that wasn't enough, they're even going to steal the neutral stacks here, throwing salt into DITD's wounds.
Yeah, it was quite fortunate for the Phoenix that he did manage to get his Supernova off in time, but then all he really needed was a few Terrorblade illusions whacking his head and he disappeared in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, but all the while, space was created for Anti-Mage himself. He managed to bring down a tier 1 at bottom and continues to farm up the enemy jungle. They do have a source of initiation with this swap here. Maybe they could catch out the Anti-Mage. But his Spidey senses have tingled. He's backed away in time and they will not suffer a casualty on their core. Right now though, I think everything is going in favor of Aggressive 5. They brought down that tier 2 at top, which means that the jungle is no longer safe for the Anti-Mage to farm as well. But DITD gonna show that they're no pushovers either. Popping a 4-man smoke, they'll move into the jungle, but is this the right play without the Supernova being online? They do have the blink on the Slaughter, so I guess that's what's prompting this movement. Ice Cubes, he's gonna get clipped with the stun. The silence is there as well. Can they lock him in long enough before he gets the Sunder? No, they can't. He sunders up the Slaughter and starts to make his escape. The stun comes out. Terribly gets the kill on the Slaughter with the illusion. Gets clips back, but Phoenix is gonna hit the deck as Venom will follow suit. It's a triple kill for Ice Cubes, who was the one that was supposed to be dead in the first place. Buck, can they get a kill on the retreat here, but with the illusory orb, he won't get squat and will be forced to blink away to his side of the river. Well, the ITT once again bungled up that initiation, getting nothing out of it.
And that would have been an excellent kill had they managed to get it. Was the Static Storm actually on cooldown during that engagement?
I don't believe so.
Because the only reason he managed to get a Sunder off was because he wasn't silenced long enough. I'm not too sure why they chose not to follow up with the Static Storm. Buck actually held on to the Dream Coil for a bit too long there as well.
Right, so Invoker, he's getting towards the Aghanim Scepter now, and given that he started to put points into the Vex, it's going to come out in decent timing when he has a whole bunch of spells to fire out. Anti-Mage continues to do his thing as the Yasha, but there's just one remaining outer tower that prevents A5 from going up on the high ground or claiming in the Aegis. They got the Mantis out finish up on the Terrorblade. While that was happening though, he actually did manage to bring down the Anti-Mage after all. Earthshaker unloading the Echo Slam for that one as well. How does DITD come back from this? Because I really felt like the Anti-Mage was their only saving grace. If he could force A5 to make some silly mistakes, forcing a tower while they're trying to take down a tower of their own.
To be honest, I actually feel that the Anti-Mage wasn't required in these engagements. He could pretty much show up at the end and possibly try to clean up if the engagements went the way of the team, but if you look at the heroes that DITD have, it feels like they do have the firepower they need to be able to bring them down. They have double blinks, they have 2 AoEs, but all they're lacking is the execution.
As we can see here as well, Disruptor does manage to get a kill on the Venge, but it's going to come at the cost of a Slaughter, who gets vacuumed back by the Darkseer. And he gets a much-deserved kill added to his name. Good dream call coming out from the Buck, but the egg will not survive. The Supernova's been destroyed, and Terribly claims the money for himself. Anti-Mage enters the fray, drops a Mana Void, doesn't get squat apart from the kill on the Invoker, but he loses his life in the bargain. And now it's going to be the Puck, trying to make a run for it. Everyone on the side of A5 is fairly low. The Illusory Orb's going to whip as Puck jumps back up on the high ground, and Gifty will survive. That actually wasn't too bad a trade for DITD. They did lose their tower though, but they did manage to get a couple of kills in exchange as well.
And once again, I think their execution was just a slightly bit off. The Phoenix really needs to be careful to position his Supernovas perfectly. Time and time again, he pops his ultimate right in the face of the 2 heroes that can bring him down in a matter of seconds. Which is why I'm surprised that they actually chose to ban out the Faceless Void themselves. Normally you see a Phoenix picked up in conjunction with something like a Faceless Void. It just provides for easier setup.
I think the Faceless Void ban was because they didn't have first pick themselves. So they were probably worried that the A5 might have got the Void for themselves there. But what's really worrisome here for DITT is, I mean, as the Terrorblade gets stronger, his illusions are only going to get more tanky, and Honestly, DITD doesn't have anything to deal with the Illusion Army this game.
I still feel that the idea they had a few minutes ago is the way to go. They need to use all the smokes of the seeds that they have and make these 4-man rotations into the Radiant jungle and try to get pickoffs, but they do need to be careful to sort of make sure that they execute it pitch perfectly.
Well, Anti-Mage still trying to lift the weight of his team on his shoulders. He's got himself 1600 gold here. He's managing to somewhat keep ahead in terms of net worth in comparison to the Darks here, but the cores on the side of A5 have just overshot him by a huge margin, with the Invoker picking up an Aghanim Scepter. While the Terrorblade, he's finished up a Mantisal and has another Ogre Club and 1200 gold in the bank to boot. This really does feel like they're just going to pump a smoke.
That's an Arcane Rune Terrorblade.
Yep. They even have Ancient Stacks. Even though they don't have any sort of AoE clear, they're just feeling confident enough to do this with the Illusion. Ice Cubes will welcome the extra money, while the rest of his teammates go hunting. I believe this is going to be a Slaughter pickoff. They're moving in that general direction here.
They could bump into the puck as well if they choose to wrap around.
Yeah, but did they have enough? Well, yeah, they definitely got enough lockdown to lock down the puck and bring him down. But Disruptor, gonna be the straggler that gets left behind. Dross jumps forward, he gets glimpsed away, gets the 2-man vacuum before getting glimpsed out there, but Maze will not commit. Casual meatball thrown on the floor there. Doesn't connect on anyone. A haphazard engagement from A5. A good dream call coming out. Good crush onto 2. Maze looks like he's going to lose his life. The Echo Slam though holds him a lot of position.
Supernova right now, and there
this is going to be A5 losing a bunch of kills here. Double kill for the puck, and Dross is going to get another one as the glimpse will pull him back. The DDL drop. Phoenix gets the kill, making it a 3-for-1. This time in favor of DITD. The throw is real, man.
I feel if the Terrorblade had been present in that engagement, this could have been a whole different story. But he chose to prioritize farming Ancients over actually joining his team for a smoke.
I'm not sure what the hell was going on there for A5 really. I mean, you had a Darkseer blinking in, getting a vacuum. Then you had the Earthshaker blinking in thereafter, faking an Echo Slam but not committing to it. And then you had an Invoker just throwing a Meteor as a complete white ball on the floor there. Let's just give them the benefit of the doubt and say it was lag. Isolation, I assume is going.
That should have been quite a hefty gold swing in the favor of DITD.
It was actually. You've got about a 2000 swing back going downwards and a fair amount of EXP as well. But I think it's safe to say that A5 are still in the driver's seat right now, as Isolation's picked up a Blink Dagger for that extra bit of mobility and initiation now.
How is the support staff on the side of the Dire doing in terms of items though?
Well, Venom walking around with that Ether Lens, so the longer range initiation on the Glimpse is a possibility. While the Phoenix, no Midas coming out for him, so he's opted to go for just the Tranquil Boots and the Urn. No Urn charges for him, unfortunately. And it's just a level 1 egg, which means that in 5 hits it's down. A5, no real pressure on them right now. They can still move into the pit and claim Roshan when they feel like it, but this is what the Anti-Mage should be doing more of. He's split pushing, forcing A5 to make some tough decisions, to move back and defend their tier 1 tower. While Ice Cubes and Kosin, none of that will be happening. They're just going to claim the Aegis instead.
So Aggressive 5, they do have the tools to make quick work of the Roshan, but I feel this is a mistake on the part of DITD. The lineup is one that affords them great flexibility when it comes to fighting around the Rosh, but you have the Standing Storm and the Supernova, both of which work extremely well at bottlenecks. Should have been more prudent about this.
Yeah, a couple of things that I noticed there is A5, they were quite vulnerable to being brought down while taking that Roshan. They did have Radiant Observer Walls watching over the pick, but that doesn't really do anything to stop smoke movements inside, which is probably why you'd want to put the Venge somewhere here. But while that's happening, Earthshaker casually unloads an Echo Slam. It's still a level 1 Echo Slam that he unloads on the Anti-Mage, and I believe he found a solo kill along with the Sunstrike from the Invoker there. 52 seconds, no split push coming out from DITD. No Metamorphosis though, which is probably why Ice Cubes and Co will not reach high ground just yet.
Yeah, but they do have the Aegis now, and Terrorblade has picked up a BKB as well, so there's very little on the side of DITD that could actually burst him down.
Yep, with the alacrity, they are going to commit. No metamorphosis needed. Tower going to take a significant amount of damage. Puck jumping in with the Veil and his magic damage. Ice Cubes is down to half, and so is that tier 3 tower, sorry. It's just rinse and repeat now. Fortification blown at a pretty terrible time. Looks like this tower will not be long for life. Switch out the Ice Cube Serra Blade, pull in the Alacrity Fall Spirit, and you've got yourself a tier 3 tower taken down 26 minutes into this game. DITD slowly but surely getting initiated upon. Phoenix gonna pop a Supernova, and instantly we're gonna see Ice Cube just go run away. Does get stunned behind the static storm, thrown down to Struggle, stuck into the vent, and maybe he's gonna lose his life as well. It's 2 down on the side of A5. This should be aggressive fight, making a quick retreat, but the green ball goes down, so kills a lot, brought down as well. While Anti-Mage move forward, he's gonna lose his life, he can't blink away, as Ice Cubes will bring him down. No Aegis expended just yet, and he still has the BKB if he chooses to use it. It is 4 down on the side of A5, and only the Terrorblade survives. But this Terrorblade, he's no pushover, and DITD can't really keep the chase going.
I feel that was an excellent engagement in favor of DITD. The only hero on the side of Aggressive 5 that managed to get away was the Terrorblade, who has an Aegis and a BKB, so there's no real way they were going to bring him down anyway.
Yep. Well, that's a significant amount of gold once again changing hands. But the fact that Terrorblade survives means that he's going to come back with a fresh new toy in the next fight. And that will probably seal the deal for them when they try and breach high ground. Venom going for the Glimmer Cape as his next item of choice. While you do have that blink on the Earthshaker, we're yet to see those big Echo Slams on multiple heroes coming out. But
yeah, he didn't have the Echo Slam in the last fight as well. He had expended it on an anti-mage kill previously.
Which is what begs the question, was it the smartest move for A5 to actually go breach high ground without a Metamorphosis and without the Echo Slam?
I think they thought that they had the items they needed to sort of force the issue, but Krovaz initiated with a swap onto the Phoenix, but he wasn't quick enough to get the follow-up stun off. Phoenix just dove out and popped a Supernova, which kind of set the pace for that complete engagement.
Maybe round 2 is going to be more successful though. Ice Cube's Maze will go. And look at the breach high ground this time. There's no fortification on the side of DITD. And here we go. They still have that Aegis on Ice Cube. Sunder casually thrown down on Gifty. They regenerate up here, and look at that, man. That range drag destroyed in seconds with the Alacrity on the Terrorblade. So it kills a lot. He's going in, he's going to get the crush off, but he actually went for the Terrorblade and didn't lock him down. Isolation has been isolated inside the static stock. Can they blow him up in time? No, they can't. And the Echo Slam, this time it's a big one.
Huge.
And that's going to be a Supernova and destroyed as well. Nope, they're going to get the stun, but it's only, I mean, it's not even going to hurt them at this point. A5 is just steamrolling all over the ITD. They'll claim the barracks, possibly even the game here, 29 minutes in. Yeah, that Echo Slam, man, that's the one they needed, and it came without the Blink Dagger even. He just walked in and made mincemeat out of it.
And that was perfect execution. Vacuum wall into a huge Echo Slam, completely destroyed the ITD there.
One lane of barracks taken down, double buyback first out from DITD. Lots of economic damage has been dished out here. It doesn't look like the DITD has the tools needed to come back from this. The anti-mage, he stopped getting any new items over and above that Manta style.
Did the Terrorblade actually lose the Aegis in that last fight?
Nope.
Nope, he still has it.
Probably just gonna time out now. But no Metamorphosis, maybe they don't want to try and push without it. They have all the time in the world now. There's this one lane of creeps just gonna constantly push in here. And DITD, without any tools to actually deal with it. If they throw the anti-mage out on the front lines to take it down, you've always got to worry about A5 initiating on him. And if he dies there, it's gonna be a dieback. He's got no buyback available this time.
And speaking of huge, Terrorblade just completed a butterfly as well. This hero is virtually unkillable.
He's got armor, evasion, and magic immunity at this point, and even got dispel with the Manta style. Every single tool needed to breach the high ground and finish this game is available at A5's disposal, as their cooldowns will now come back online. Yep, RNGesus has blessed them as well. Casual double damage rune sitting in the river. It is a best of one though, so I can't really fault DITD to fight till the very bitter end. Although, quite honestly, It's a 20,000 golden EXP lead. 31 minutes into this game. I'm not too sure what DITD can do here.
Yeah, I think there was a time in this game when the ITD did have the opportunity to sort of turn things around. I mean, even in the previous engagement, the first fight that Aggressive 5 decided to take after claiming that Aegis went horribly wrong for them. I think the ITD just needed to execute the second fight just as well, sort of bungled up then.
There we go though, Puck. He just orbed it. That was not the smartest play to make. He's gonna die. Or is he? He's gonna drop a dream call. Yep, 3 hits, Terrorblade brings him down. That's a dieback on the Puck. Slaughter's dying elsewhere. While the Tornado comes in, it's a big one. And anyway, so he's gonna blink away. The Echo Slam will hold the Phoenix in position. No Supernova this time around. The swap on the Venom. He's almost gonna lose his life as well, but anyway, got a consolation prize in Thor as his Venom experience. Meanwhile, Terrorblade, playing objective Dota, takes down the barracks and goes for the tier 4s. This is it, man. DITD can't do anything to stop this TB from coming in. GG's will be called. Gifty has sat down. A5 has knocked them out of the tournament and will move forward through the brackets. Well said. What would you have done if you were in DITD's position here? What would you change the drop? Would you change something in the playstyle early on?
I think they knew from the get-go that this would have been an uphill battle. They're up against a team of veterans from the Indian Dota 2 scene. And keeping that in mind, they should have probably prioritized drafting some straight lockdown. I think the Disruptor and the Phoenix, the support duo there, just didn't do what they planned.
Yeah, I feel like they should have had at least one roaming support to give middle lane a little bit of a harder time. The anti-mage pick, it was greedy. It could have worked if perhaps, you know, he got that early Battle Fury and then went about split pushing. But time and again, we saw the Earthshaker just finding those solo kills on him, which is probably why I'd say Maze is the MVP of this game for me. Who do you give the MVP to?
I see a 9-for-1 Terrorblade, so...
Yeah, I guess he's done his bit as well. Alright folks, you're watching the ESL India Premiership Challenger Cup #1, organized by Nordwind Gaming, sponsored by Asus and HyperX. This is CloudX and Sid signing out for now. We'll be coming back with more action through the day, so stick around.